Hello heretics, welcome to Trench Talk. I'm Linge, and this here is the part 2 on how to play Trench Crusade official rules, and it's the 1.0 rules that's released. And today we will talk about how to shoot, how to fight, blood markers, how do they work, and how to win a game. So if you watched the earlier video with all kinds of activations and movement, and this video, you will have a good grip on how to play the game with your friends, and any other rules that you might stumble upon you can fix for yourself. Like, this is pretty comprehensive to know all the situations, and you can go back and look through the chapters if you're uncertain about things. I'm sure there will be some changes like in upcoming months, especially regarding like the controversial things like diving charge or maybe the trench height. We will see, and I'll update you once we do. So please do subscribe, belly button thing, and thank you so much for commenting and watching the earlier videos. I've been doing this channel for exactly a year now, and no video this past 30-40 videos has been as successful as my last one. So thank you for that. It was very fun to see, and check out my earlier painting videos as well if you're interested in that. So without further ado, let's learn some trench. Keep this in mind. Actions, always 2 dice. Rolling them and getting 7 or more is a success. If you have less, it's a failure and the action doesn't happen. A risky action, however, means if you fail, the activation for that model is over and it's your opponent's turn. There are many different types of ranged weapons in Trench Crusade. For example, we have the machine gun, submachine gun, heavy flamer, a pistol, and a sniper rifle, just to name a few. To make a ranged attack, you need to have, much like charging, line of sight. But unlike charging, it doesn't end at maximum 12 inches. The ranged attack of a weapon says on their own stat sheet. So for example, let's say that this submachine gun has 20 inches. That means that if shooting within 10 inches, that's half range, and you will get no minus dice to shoot. However, if you were at 11 inches away, that would be more than half and would make it long ranged and -1 to hit. Another modifier while making a ranged attack are cover. The cover rule is like this. Is it more than half an inch high? Yes, it is. Is it as large, as wide as the model's base? Yes, it is. And does it cover the model at all? And going down, like looking behind, I can see that yes, it covers his shoulder and his knees. You do not take weapons into account, and you do not take accessories like bayonets or flag poles into account. Like these candles would not be taken into account for line of sight. Only the actual body of the model is. And as always, be lenient towards your friends and hard on yourself when it comes to making rules calls on line of sight. We're not here to have a bad time. When determining how many dice to roll to attack in either melee or in ranged, you can just look at your unit card. They are in the rulebook, or you can print them out, or you can buy them at Trench Deck, which is the website I got these from. But the lieutenant here, for example, has +2 in both ranged and melee. So what you do there is, per normal, you have 2 dice. Every activation in the game except charging has 2 dice. And then you add 2 dice to make a ranged attack, which makes it 4 dice. And when you roll these, you need to get 7 or more on the 2 highest. Not counting all of them, because that would be way too easy. There are also positive modifiers for your ranged attacks. It's not only minus from long range or minus from cover. It can also be plus dice, and you get a +1 die if you're 3 inches or more above your target. So this machine gun is for sure more than 3 inches, and you measure this base to base, not weapon to model or anything like that. Base to base 3 inches. That's a +1 modifier. So in this scenario, we have the machine gun at the tower wanting to shoot at the poor policeman with a gun. Let's say that he has +2 to shoot to begin with. That means that we have the 2 dice from activation, +2 from his own unit card. However, it's very far away, so it has the -1 die modifier from long range. That means we remove 1. This guy is also a little bit in cover. That's another -1 dice. That's not good. Now we're only back at the 2 dice to succeed. Will we succeed on a 7 with 2 dice? Maybe, maybe not. But he also has the elevated position, which gains him another +1 dice. So that means you roll 3 dice and take the 2 highest. An 8. Success! When you roll a hit, you all need to roll on the injury chart, which is basically a to wound and to save roll from Warhammer into one single roll. So you look at the chart, which is from 1 to 12 on a result. You roll 2 dice. That's a 5. However, this policeman, he has a reinforced armor, which grants him -2 to the injury roll. That means on this roll, we will modify it by -2. So the 5 gets into a 3. It's the same though on the injury chart, it's a minor hit. And what does that do? High time to introduce the blood marker. In this scenario, the policeman got a blood marker from getting hit. His armor protected him well, so he only got the blood marker instead of being killed or downed. You can kinda think of these as the unit's health, because every unit in this game only has 1 health, but they get blood markers from getting hurt. And these can be used in different ways. They modify actions in different ways and make it easier to wound further. Let me show you. In this scenario, he has the 1 blood marker. This can be used against him in different ways. Let's say that the policeman wants to shoot this observer. I want to shoot you. And he has 3 dice to make that shooting attack. We can spend this blood marker. He's so hurt. that he will probably miss. That means 1 blood marker minus 1 dice to hit. So he only gets 2 to roll. Let us say that he had 3 blood markers on him. What happens then? Can I really modify the 3 dice to be gone? No. What happens is this. We use all the 3 blood markers. That means that his +1 will get removed. And then he will get a minus die and another minus die. That means that we add 2. So now he has 4 dice. But when he rolls it, you use the 2 lowest instead of the highest. So the more dice you have, the worse your odds are. So let's try it. That's okay. Yeah, these are 6s, right? Which is great. That's a critical roll in normal cases. But since he's at a minus and we have to use the lowest results, it's a 1 and a 3, which means he misses with his pistol. So that's how you can use the blood markers in one way. Here is another. The policeman has 2 blood markers since before and is getting shot by this priest. The priest shot and hit him. That means that now it's time to roll on the injury chart. And normally it's only 2 dice, but we want our odds to be better. So now we can spend 2 of these to get 2 more dice to roll on the injury chart. And since it works the same way as to hit, you only count the 2 highest. So instead of 1 and a 1, we get a 6 and a 5, which is killed. But he has armor of 2, which makes the 11 into a 10 and a 9, which is still killed. Ugh! Blood markers are great. But there's even more things you can do with the blood markers. And this is the coolest one yet. Let's say somebody hurt this machine armor guy so bad that he is downed. Downed is a result on the injury chart, and he also has 3 blood markers on him. He's very hard to kill because he has an armor of 3, which you have to roll a 12 on the injury to kill him. That's very hard. But with these blood markers, this policeman can shoot him while laying down. Pew! And he hit. And since he is laying down, he can use 3 blood markers to make a bloodbath. If the machine armor was standing up, we would have to use 6 to make a bloodbath, which is kinda not worth it, but you almost always use the bloodbath when people are laying down, and you only have to spend 3 of them. So let's do it. Let's spend the 3 of them and roll on the injury table. He shot him and he hit. Let's see. We use the bloodbath. That means we take 3 dice and we add them all together instead of just the 2 highest. That means we got 1, 2, and a 3, which in total is 6, which with his armor minus 3, it's only a result of 3, which means a minor hit and he gets a blood marker. But you can expand on this even further. Let's say that he has rolled a crit to hit. A critical hit of 12 gets you another die when hitting to the injury table. So if you did a bloodbath in conjunction with a critical hit, you would roll 4 dice. Because bloodbath lets you add 3 of the highest together, And you got one more from the critical, and you roll 4 and add the 3 highest. In this case it's a not great 10, which still isn't enough to kill him, but you get the idea on how to do it. Let's find out if he can shoot into the melee combat without hitting his friend. First, he must roll a dice. On a 1, 2, 3, you must shoot at your friend with all the modifiers that apply to that friend. If there are more than one friend, you have to choose one of them. However, if you shoot 4, 5, 6, you can shoot the enemy model and apply all the modifiers to that. If there are more than one enemy models, you can choose which one you wanna shoot. So it's 50-50 kinda, if you hit your friends or your enemy. The machine armor and the machine gun has a special rule which makes it allows it to shoot 3 times. Very strong. Cling, 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 cling. However, if you shoot, you cannot charge later. Unless you have the assault keyword. Weapons with assault keyword can shoot and charge. Very good. When hitting something laying down, you get another +1 dice modifier to the injury roll, which makes it very strong, especially in combination with the Bloodbath. When attacking somebody that's behind a defended position and has like a wall or something between them, that's a -1 to hit modifier. If you are high up and you get shot by something and you roll a down result while being upstairs, you have to roll and see if you fall down as well. You take a risky action for that model, and if you fail, your opponent chooses which way you fall down, over there or over there. And then you take the fall damage. However, if you succeed, you still are downed, but not falling down. Some abilities give you a blessing marker, and these work as a reverse blood marker. You can use these on your own models to give them better chances of things. Like you can give them +1 injury, you can give them +1 hit, and you can give, when your opponent hits the target with a blessing marker, you can give them a -1 die to injury roll. It's really good, but quite rare. I haven't even painted my blessing marker dice up yet. Let's put all this knowledge into practice. So now it's your opponent's turn. On his turn, he kinda wants the charge, but it's so far away, so he won't risk rolling it. He might lose. So he'll start with a dash. Fails, which means his activation is over. Haha. The Prussian model will try to dash. Succeeds. I re-rolled for dramatic effect. So he will use his dash to move over here. And then he will use his second activation to charge, which is 1 dice plus movement. 6 again, so we're in combat. Bada bim bada boom. We hit him with +2 dice. That's a hit of 7. Awesome. Let's roll on the injury chart. 7, which is not great, but he is at least downed and gets a blood marker. On his turn now, he will instantly stand back up, because when a model is downed and starts an activation, they stand up. And this guy has a special rule. For each blood marker he has, he gets 1 extra dice to attack. So he gets kind of stronger by being hurt. One of the few models in the game that has this. So he hits him back now with, I'm gonna say 4 dice. I don't know actually. Yeah. Oh no, he rolled a crit. Which means he hits back with a +1 die to injury. So in total, 3 and take the 2 highest. He rolled an 11. Holy. But -3 means that it's 8 and he is downed with a blood marker. He though has a special ability on his other weapon, which is a bell. And when he hits with his bell, he forces people to back away. It's very strong and can force a retreat, which in turn gives him another free attack. So you see there are many different tactics involved. You always get to hit with all your arms. So if you have 2 arms and a 2-handed, it's 1 attack. But if it's 2 arms and 2 weapons, it's 2 attacks. And the second attack you do is considered an offhand and starts with a -1 to hit. So if you had 4, it will be 3. So how does one win at Trench Crusade? Well, there are 2 ways. Either you play all the turns and count victory points from the scenario, or let's say that your warband consists of 4 models. And in the game, one of them is taken out of action and dead, and the other one is downed. This means that half or more of your warband has been killed or downed, and the ones left standing are quite shaken. You have to take a risky action to see if they get scared. I rolled an 8 and succeeded, so the game continues as normal. But if I rolled a 5, which is less than 7, it would have been fail. And both of these models are shaken, which means that every single action they do is now a risky business. And they have to take a risky action. To move, to shoot, to attack, to whatever. It's very, very bad. And at the end of next turn, when you take another morale test, now I rolled an 11, which means they would braven up and continue to fight as normal. But if I had rolled a 6 and would fail again, they instantly flee the battlefield and the game is lost. So you really want your models to be standing and not dead to win the game. Pro tactics right there.